and welcome to another video. Now this is going to be all of my BL that I have. I don't have a huge collection of BL, but people have been asking for just my BL collection for a while, and when I made my overall manga collection, I did say I was making a separate video for Yaoi BL stuff. Sorry it took me a little bit longer than expected, but this is pretty much it. So rather than spend too much time on this, I'm just going to get straight into it. First of all, we have His House, Volume 1 by Ha-Jin Yu. This is a 3-volume series released by Net Comics. I've only read this one volume. I wasn't super sold on it, but I might pick up the next volume. It's interesting because aside from being a manhwa, it is completely colored. I know that people really like Ha-Jin Yu's sense of humor in her writing, and I don't disagree that it does have quite a humorous tone, but maybe not the humor that I'm used to in BL. I don't know, I didn't find it all that particularly hilarious or anything. Next to that is another Net Comics release, Intense 1-4 by Kyung-hee Yi, which is an author I'm really excited to hear that Netflix has Net Comics has licensed another one of her stories to be published, so I'm really looking forward to that. Intense, I adore. I saw the cover for the first volume on Twitter and just absolutely fell in love with it. Bought the first volume and immediately picked up the rest just because it was that good. I definitely recommend it if you're a fan of Ko Yonoda's stuff. Just because it is very dark, gritty, and their art styles are fairly similar, not identical, but if you like Yonoda's style, then you will most likely like this series. Next to that is New Beginnings, the only Kotetsu Yamamoto work I have. I do really like Kotetsu Yamamoto, but we don't actually have a huge amount of her stuff in English. Aside, we have a lot of digital releases for her stuff. I know June has put out a lot of her titles, but this is the only one that I think has gotten a print release, which is a shame because I do really like her work. Next is You and Me, Etc. by Kyugo, which is sort of a short story collection. I had heard good things about this for a long time, and after finally reading it sometime last year, I wasn't disappointed. This, of course, is a blue title, which is Tokyopop's old BL line, so it is out of print, although I'm fairly certain it's pretty easy to find a copy of that. Next we get into some Fumi Yoshinaga stuff, The Moon and the Sandals 1 and 2, and Don't Say Any More Darling, and Solfège. The Moon and the Sandals is her first work, I think, she ever wrote. Don't Say Any More Darling is a collection of one-shot, short stories, sort of similar to You and Me, etc. And Solfège is probably my least favorite of Yoshinaga's work, just because I'm not a huge fan of student-teacher relationships at all. But if that's something you don't have a problem with, it's still very good. Next to that is Future Lovers 1 and 2 by Saiko Kuneida. This is released by Do, and again, complete series. I only read this recently, and I'm quite happy that I gave it a chance. I've heard good things about it. The only title I have released by Do, but I know that they did have quite a lot of things put out in print before their inevitable demise. Then we have more Yoshinaga stuff, Gerard and Jacques, volumes 1 and 2, and then Truly Kindly and Lovers in the Night. Truly Kindly being more of a collection of one-shots, and Lovers in the Night is sort of a expansion off of one of the short stories in Truly Kindly. it sort of links together. I don't know. Again, Fumi Yoshinaga, one of my favorite mangaka. I really appreciate what she tries to attempt with her BL. It's not just like fluff for the sake of fluff. She actually does have some interesting stuff that she covers in her BL. So yes, I do actually own all of her things that have been put out in English. Next is all of my Koyonada stuff, all of the stuff that has been released in English. Firstly is Nights, released by Sublime, and the only one of her work that was released by Sublime. The rest are June releases, volumes 1 to 3 of Twittering Birds Never Fly. Volume 1 is the reprint from the Sakura Kickstarter. I didn't actually get any books, like any of the Sakura books in that Kickstarter, but I did get this book because I was wanting it for a long time, and with the new translation it was the better option. Probably one of the more well-known BL titles and most highly regarded within the community. It's very, very, very good, very dark though, in more ways than one, especially considering Yonada's love for the Yakuza. Then we have No Touching at All and Even So I Will Love You Tenderly, which are related titles. No Touching at All came first, but Even So is a prequel to this one. Prequel, is it? I don't know. Semi-prequel, sequel to the series. Then we have 7 Days, which I think is probably one of the best titles to recommend to someone just wanting to get into BL. It's not explicit at all. It's much more of a shonen ai than like actual, what people would consider yaoi. But very, very sweet. I know this has gone in and out of print a lot, so I don't know whether or not it's currently available, but definitely worth the read. Then is Junko's Mr. Minimart. I adore Junko's BL stuff. It's always very funny, and her art style is very cute. Of course, most people would probably know her more fondly for Kiss Him Not Me, her shoujo stuff that is currently being released, but like a lot of mangaka, she started in BL, and Mr. Minimart is probably, it's a good entry point to her stuff. It's very sweet and happy and just overall soft. It's very, very fun. Then we have Only Serious About You 1 and 2. Volume 1 is near impossible to find, and I did pay a premium to get a copy, but I'm so glad to finally have finished that series because it is adorable. I am a big sucker for BL about single parents, single dads. I don't know, if you put a child in there, it just makes me like it more for some reason, which is a little bit odd. It's not necessarily the case for everything consumed, but I like when there is a well-developed child character in media, and Only Serious About You does it very well. A new season of Young Leaves, which is written by the same woman who wrote 7 Days. This one, again, I don't even think it can be classified as BL, really. It has zero actual relation stuff. It is much more of a introductory sort of setup volume. It is sort of promised to have a sequel, although I have no idea whether or not that has come to fruition. Then we have Apple and Honey, and then Apple and Honey Rose-Colored Life, which is the sequel. Again, one that I'm not too sure is in print anymore. I'm so sort of behind on June titles. I tend to try and buy them as soon as possible because they're sort of notorious for not really keeping their stuff in stock, but it's a pretty solid series. I like the interactions between the two main characters. I think there's a definite source and heaviness of reality in it. Then we have Samajima-kun and Sasahara-kun, which is another title I got from the Sakura Kickstarter. The artwork is not great in this, but I think the humor sort of makes up for it in this one. Yeah. I had heard good things about it, and I wasn't, like, disappointed in it, but it's not, like, fabulous. I wouldn't really recommend it to people, but you're not gonna waste your time by reading it. You just sort of have to know whether or not you like the art style, because it is really very, I don't know what, sparse art style, I think, is a good term. Then we have Woolf Magic, by Natsuki Zippo. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked the sort of character arc of this character over the sort of book, because it does follow him sort of in his teen years and then later on in his adult life, and sort of his self issues and things like that. It's very interesting. I did like it. That was good by CJ Mikulski. This is probably the book that I have the most problems with, but again, small child, I'm like, but there are so many. This is one that I can't recommend to people unless you know what you're getting into. It has a lot of, like, yaoi tropes, mostly to do with very dubious consent, even later on in the book. But something about domesticity is, I don't know, there's a soft spot for it somewhere deep inside, and the later story in it is okay. Like, I don't have too much of a problem with it. It has BL tropes, but what can you expect? But yeah, this isn't one that I could say. I know it's sort of well regarded, but I have some very strong problems with it. But again, domesticity. And that kid is really cute. And when it's not being, like, really cringy yaoi stereotypes, it's pretty good. Like, I don't know, I can't really defend it at all, but yeah, I'm not, like, angry that I read it, just sort of like, oh, I expected better, but what can you do? And then we have Ichigenmei, the First Class of Civil Law, another Fumiyoshi Naga title, this one by 801, which I think is Digital Manga Publishing's, or one of DMP's, like, titles. I don't know. It's sort of more explicit stuff than, I don't know. I can't remember. As you can tell, it's sort of an older release. I don't know if they still have even any titles under this 801 imprint anymore. But yes, this is the main shelf, and all of this stuff is, for the most part, finished. The only thing that is still ongoing is Twittering Birds Never Fly. The rest, of course, are only 1 or 2 volumes, or 1 or 2 volumes. And His House is 3, but again, not sure if I'm going to keep up with that one. And then I'm going to go to the second shelf, which is sort of longer, ongoing titles. Shelf 2 has Blue Morning 1-6 by Shoko Hiraka right next to her other work, Does the Flower Blossom 1-3. Blue Morning, I believe Volume 7 was just released in Japan, so we should see that sometime soon in the near future. Very, very good if you're a fan of like Gerard and Jacques by Yoshinaga. It's very, very heavy on the, like, setting and world building and sort of historical, political stuff within the story, rather than just focusing on the couple. So if that's something that interests you, pick it up. It is also very dense. You can see how thick this final volume, or this last volume is, the most recent volume. It actually, I mean, I'm quite a fast reader. It takes me a while to get through these volumes. It's quite dense with actual discussion and it's not like an easy sit, insofar as you have to actually engage your brain to make sure that you're following all the like political scheming within the story. Does the Flower Blossom is much more low-key. This is complete, I believe, in Japan, 5 volumes. Yeah, but with June, they're taking forever, like always, to actually release it, so who knows when we'll get volume 4. And then finally is sort of my biggest guilty pleasure, and that is The World's Greatest First Love, the case of Ritsu Onodera. If you've seen any of my videos before, you'll know that I'm really not a fan of Shunjiku Nakamura. I think she really, really sort of epitomizes so much that's wrong in like Fujoshi and Yaoi and BL fandom and groups and the community as a whole. Junjo Romantica is probably my most... Junjo Romantica is a topic that I can talk annoyed about for literally hours. So I'm not going to get into that. I know a lot of people really enjoy that, but to me it's really reprehensible on so many levels. And I don't think I'm necessarily alone in that opinion. I haven't read any of Junjo Romantica, but I have seen the 3 seasons of anime, so I do somewhat know what I'm talking about. And I don't know why I put myself through it, because I like the Junjo Egoist, is that the couple? I like them, but everyone else is awful, so I don't know. No, thank you. Maybe what's that one? It's like the one, the boss and the guy. The boss and his like PA or his personal assistant. They're alright as well. They're not awful, but like the actual Romantica couple it has so many issues with it that I have with BL in general that no thank you. And then the terrorist couple is just horrible. Like, I hate it. I hate it so much. In saying that, Sekaiichi, or The World's Greatest First Love, it still has problems. It has problems that Junjo Romantica has. But I hope, or I try to believe, that maybe she has learnt and evolved slightly since she started Romantica. And I still have problems with some of the things in World's Greatest First Love, but overall, as a complete product, it is years bound ahead of anything that Junjo Romantica has done. And I actually don't despise any of the characters in World's Greatest First Love, so that's always a plus. I am quite glad that we actually have finally gotten this in English. I know it was something that people were wanting for a very long time. And so I'm hoping it's doing well for Sublime. I would expect so, because Nakamura's name is pretty much the like epitome of early Fujoshi Yaoi fangirl like knowledge. I think most people start with Junjo Romantica and Gravitation. Well, that's really my generation, but I don't know. I feel like she's still very profitable in English markets. So hopefully that means that World's Greatest First Love is doing well for them. But in saying that, there are so many better BL mangaka out there. But I do like me some World's Greatest, so yes. So that was my complete BL collection. Again, just really 1.5 shelves. I don't have a huge collection, so I'm not really that well versed on like everything that's available in English, but I'm very, very picky with the BL that I do read, so maybe I'm not the best person to ask when you want to know sort of the best in the genre. I can give you my personal favorites, but they're not going to be to everyone's taste. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope there's some titles that maybe you guys want to try out after hearing me talk about it, or maybe having another opinion on a title that you agree with, or you know, just hearing some more good things about a title that you've heard about. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I'll catch you in the next video, and bye till then.